Hi, welcome at Nox's Games Attic. And this time we're going to have a look at the Captains of the Golden Age, published by Golden Age Games. It's a game for 2 to 4 players and it takes approximately 1 to 3 hours to play. And in this game every player takes on the role of a captain with his own ship, and he endeavors to be the first one to obtain 4 shares in the major trade company. The first player to achieve this will be the winner of the Captains of the Golden Age. You will achieve this by trading various goods and eventually you will trade it up to pepper, which is the most precious good at the time, and if you manage to bring that home you get a share, or maybe multiple if you have enough pepper with you. You also will be upgrading your ship. There will be some shares to be obtained by that, and finally, if you're a bit lazy or sly, you can steal the products from other players, turn them in yourselves and get the shares that way. So let's have a look at what's in this box. As I've explained at the beginning, the final components and art may vary from what I'm about to show you. The game itself is made by Nick Jansma and Aaron Groot, and we get the main board. This nice circular board within the middle of the Pirate's Cove, 4 islands which produce different goods. The main island that produces the pepper and allows you to make ship upgrades, and here we have our home haven where we can also upgrade our ship and get the desired shares we need to win the game. Further, we'll get 4 player boards in the 4 colors of each player, on which they keep the progress of the different upgrades they can build for their ship. They have a track to place their contracts, and their captain will also be present on this board. Every player will get some chips with the various upgrades on one side and the cost to build them on the other, a miniature ship to indicate your position on the main board, the different materials we can collect and trade during the game, the shares, these are the regular shares we can obtain, and those are the bonus shares you get if you're the first to upgrade your ship to the max in the 4 different categories. We have the 4 captains themselves. We have a special set of cards for each player in their own color, and this is the pirate disc. If you become the main pirate, you can set your sights on certain products, and as soon as someone produces them, you'll steal them. And obviously we'll get the rules in different languages, of which one is English. That's what we get. Let's set up the game. And this is how a standard 3-player game looks like. And there are different varieties of playing this game. I've chosen the beginner setup, which means that every player gets an extra upgrade in each of the 4 categories, and each player starts with 1 additional upgrade in each category. You'll place your captain with his picture, his portrait side, face up, and you start with a starting hand of 4 cards, 1 card of each of the 4 upgrade types. I'll get to that in the explanation part. The remaining cards in your own color and the remaining upgrades are placed next to your board. On the main board, each player starts with his ship in the Pirate Cove in the middle of the board. We place the ingredients, the products on the various islands. We have copper, we have paper, we have barrels of rum, and we have the wood and the much desired pepper, which is the most valuable product in this time period, and that's the product we need to transport back home in order to get the contracts. All the contracts are laid out. On the back you see small symbols which represent the bonuses they give, and we have the 4 upgrade contracts which can be obtained if you succeed in upgrading one of the 4 different types to the fullest, and if you're the first one you'll get this contract for free. And finally we place the pirate disc within reach for the first player to become a pirate and obtain that. So that's how we set up. Let's play the game. At the beginning you randomly determine the start player and he will start his or her turn. The game will last until one player achieves getting 4 shares. If someone obtains the 4th share, the game immediately ends and that player will be the winner. What does a player's turn look like? 4 steps which will not always occur. The first step is mandatory. You have to move. The amount of movement points you have is determined by the amount of sails you have. In this example we all start with 2 sails, which means we can move 2 steps. The board itself has been divided in sea spaces and island spaces. Crossing a white line requires 1 sail, so if you want to do if you have 2 sails like I have, you can make 2 moves. You can move 2 spaces. You can move through spaces which contain other ships, but you cannot move through an island. So for instance, if I have 3 sails I could move 3 spaces, but I can't say 1, 2 and 3. In order to get behind the isle I have to sail around, or I'll have to split it up into turns. Another thing, the sea spaces and the isle spaces can only contain a maximum of 2 ships. The only exceptions are the Pepper Harbor, the Home Harbor and the Pirates Cove. They can all contain as many ships as there are players, so everybody can move into these 3 locations. But also they are like islands, so you can't move through them in one turn. Your movement will end if you go to one of those harbors. So first you have to move. After movement, depending on where you end, there can be a conflict with another player. If for instance blue is over here and I end my movement in the same sea space as blue, as the active player I have the first choice to either choose to attack him or not. I'm not forced to attack him, but if I say I will not attack him, blue still gets the option to attack me back. In order to attack another player, the most important thing is you need your captain to be face up. So as long as the picture of your captain is showing, you can still make an attack on another player's ship. If you choose to attack, the active player is always seen as the attacker and the other player will be the defender. And if you attack, you have to choose between 2 kinds of attack. You can either board the other player using the crew on your ship, the blue upgrades, or you can try to blast his upgrades to smithereens using your cannons. Let me for instance try to board blue. As the attacker I have to make the first move, and as long as there's a tie between the amount of crew, nothing will happen. So in this example I have 2 crewmates, blue has 2 crewmates, so there's a tie, and of course during the game you'll get more upgrades and you might go for getting a lot of crew or a lot of cannons, but to keep the example simple, I can play as the attacker. I have to play, I'm the one who has to make the first move. I'm going to play another crew card, which makes my total crew 3. Then blue gets the option to play cards from his or her hand to match my number, and we can continue doing that until either I have more or we have an equal amount. But as long as he matches my amount of cards, I can't effectively attack him. But for the sake of this example, let's say blue has no crew cards in his or her hand. So my total crew number is 3, his is 2, I have 1 extra crew, which means I'm allowed to board his ship and steal one of the goods in his storage. Well, he has no goods on his storage, but it's just an example. I pick up the preferred good, place it in my own storage. If there's no room in my own storage, I may throw something overboard. Every storage space can only contain one good, or I may just take his good and throw it away right away. After I've played cards, they immediately return to my own draw pile. And I've made an attack, so I have to flip my captain to the backside. And I can't make another attack until I rest my captain. After I've attacked, the defender may also attack back. He may also choose between boarding me or blowing me away with cannons. Well, he's a bit disappointed that I took some goods from him, so he's gonna try to blow me away with cannons. This attack works the same way. It's 2 cannons versus 2 cannons, so it's tied. Blue is now the attacker, so he has to come up with the first move. Now let's say he plays a 3rd cannon. I can't match his cannon, so he has 1 cannon more than I have, so he can destroy one of my upgrade chits. The printed on upgrades can never be destroyed. If you destroy an upgrade, you just flip it to the other side, and you can't use the benefits of that upgrade until you repair it. The upgrade itself remains on your ship. It's just not usable until you repair it in one of the major harbors. I'll come to that in a sec. Destroying upgrades always goes from right to left. You can choose in which lane you want to destroy something. And if you destroy a storage upgrade and there is a good on top of it, for instance I've got some wood on this one, and the blue player decides to destroy my storage upgrade, it flips to the inactive side and the good itself is lost and placed back into the main pile. This is also an attack, so it also requires blue to flip his or her captain, and its card is also discarded. So that's basically how an attack works, but if you enter a space with another player, you're not forced to do an attack. You can also say, I'm not going to attack you, I'll just leave you be, in hoping that the other player will also leave you be. If there are 2 ships in one space, as I said before, it's full. You can still travel through it, but you can't end there. Except for the main harbors and the Pirates' Cove. This battle could also happen at an island, and then first we have the battle and then we have the island step. The island step is fairly easy. We have the 4 main goods on these 4 islands. If you end your step there, depending on the level of your storage track, you can either pick 1, 2 or 3 goods up, but keep in mind that every storage upgrade can only hold 1 product, so you can pick up multiple, but you can't place multiple upon one space. If you travel to the Pepper Island, you see you get 2 symbols. You can use both of them. One of them is upgrading your ship, and because it's one of the main harbors with the upgrade, the shipyard, you also repair all damaged upgrades, so you flip them back at no cost, and your captain is flipped back. On the back of your captain there's this symbol, which is the card symbol. If you flip your captain back, you can draw 1 card and add it to your hand. And I can buy upgrades for my ship. Every chit has depicted on its back the amount of goods it takes to make it. So for instance, if I want to get this sail upgrade, I need 1 wood and 1 paper token, and I place the upgrade on my ship, and I've got another sail. And we can do this at the Pepper Harbor and our home harbor. They both have the ship upgrade, which means we can buy upgrades, repair destroyed upgrades, and flip back our captain so we can attack again. The second thing we can do on the Pepper Isle is of course obtaining the pepper. Pepper is not obtained the same way you obtain goods from those 4 isles. You just have to go there, you get an amount of products equal to how many you can grab, depending on your storage upgrades. Here you have to trade, and you can trade any kind of good to get pepper. For instance, if I have 1 wood and 1 copper, I can trade both of them to gain 2 pepper and place those in my ship. So that's what you can do on Pepper Island. In the middle of the board we have the Pirate Cove. If you end your turn there, you see 2 symbols, the pirate's flag and the balance. The pirate's flag means you're gonna become the main pirate. You'll get this pirate dial on which you have this pirate with his looking glass looking at one of the 4 good producing islands. When you take this dial you can turn it in secrecy to an isle which produces a certain type of goods, and you'll place it face down next to you. You're the pirate, and what's going to happen, I've chosen the rum island. If a player goes to the rum island, they would get a number of rum bottles depending on their storage track. For instance, green would get 1 bottle, but instead of giving it to green, it will come straight to you. You'll have to call it, so you have to say, look, I'm the pirate, I've set my eye on the bottle of rum island, and the good will go to you. Again, you only have, you must store it in one of the storage compartments, and if you don't have any room, you'll have to toss it overboard and it'll go back to the main pile. After that has happened, you get to choose another island, or maybe the same island, nobody knows. But you can set the site of this pirate to another island, or the same island. Again, you do this secretly, and you place it face down again. The second symbol is the balance, which means you may trade 1 of your goods for any one of the other goods in play, never being pepper. The only way to get pepper is to actually go to the island and trade it for goods. Finally, we have our home harbor. Again, the upgrade symbol, so we repair, flip our captain, and we may purchase upgrades. And if we have pepper with us, we can buy shares. And you can buy them any way you like. You don't have to start at the first one and then the second. You can just buy, if you come in with 3 pepper, you can start at the end, take the most difficult one first. Or you could say, I have 3 pepper, I'll buy this one and I'll buy that one. It's up to you. This is just the price you need to pay for those shares. If you get a share, you pick one of the shares available on the table. On the back of these shares there are 1 or 2 symbols printed, and those are the little bonuses you get when you get this share. For instance, if I buy this one, I get 1 free paper good, which I place in one of my storage compartments, and I get to draw a card, which I can add to my hand. But more importantly, I have 1 share, which brings me 1 step closer to victory. These are the 4 special upgrade shares. As soon as a player upgrades his ship in one of the 4 categories to the max, and he's the first one to achieve that, he gets this bonus share. So if I'm the first one to upgrade my sails to the total of 6, I will get this sail bonus share, and it will be placed on my player board on the cheapest space available. So if everything is empty, it will slide over the 1. I don't need to pay any pepper for this, so that's a nice way. For instance, if you have a couple of these already filled, it can fill the 2 or 3 space, and that will save you a trip to Pepper Island. It could be a nice way to get some extra shares without having to fight for the pepper. And the final step is drawing cards. If you get cards because you flipped your captain back, or you bought some shares, or if you end your turn in a sea space, you will get to draw 1 card. Drawing cards is not random. You just have this entire pile of cards with the same symbols as the symbols on your ship. And each card is in here 5 times, and you may just pick one of those cards. For instance, I think I'm going to need some speed to get back to Pepper Island. I'm just going to draw another sail, and I can play that one the next time I'm going to move. Drawing cards is always the last thing you do during your turn, which means you can never use the cards you just drew in your own turn. You always save them for the next turn. But those cards are very neat. You have a maximum hand size of 7. If you draw an 8th card, you have to discard 1 of your choosing. And of course, if you play the cards, they'll just go back into the pile. You don't have to shuffle it, because you can pick out the cards you like every time you get to draw a card. So ending up on an empty sea space can be a tactical choice. So to summarize a player's turn, you must move at least one step to a maximum of the amount of sails you have and or play. Then if you end up in a space containing another player, you can fight that player, but beware, you need a captain with its portrait up to do that, and the other player can attack back. You're only safe in the main harbors. People can't attack each other in either Pepper Island or the home harbor. For the rest, nothing is safe. Then third, if you're at an island, you get to do what the island tells you to do. Get goods, trade, upgrade, etc. And finally, you draw cards. And then it's the next player's turn, and he starts by moving, and then depending on where he ends his movement, he either gets an island or a card phase, or maybe an attack, or maybe several of those steps. And so play continues clockwise until a player picks up his fourth contract. The game then immediately ends, and the player who has the 4 contracts is the winner of Captains of the Golden Age. And that's how this game is played. There are a couple of things about Captains of the Golden Age which I specifically like. For instance, it's a strategic game. There is no luck factor in here. There are no dice, no randomizers. You have to get inside the heads of your opponents, try to estimate what they're gonna do, and react to that, or try to stay ahead of them. Because everything you do can be predetermined. You can choose to attack your opponent. If you end your movement on a sea space, you get a card. You can pick out whichever card you like. You can try to get the goods to upgrade your ship, and you can try to avoid the other players. But of course, the other players are the ones who are gonna mess up your strategy, and that's another point I like a lot about this game, is that makes it very interactive. Players will actively seek each other out. They will try to take your pepper and claim it for themselves, and bring it back home, and they'll get the shares you were trying to cash in on. So obtaining a lot of pepper is always a risk, especially if there are more players on the board. So you'll have to prepare yourself for that, maybe by upgrading your ship to get more sails so you can outmaneuver them, or you can bring in more crew or cannons to defend yourself. And of course, the cards in your hand, they play a great role. You can hold up to 7 cards, and if you choose to take 5 sails and 2 cannons, you can just fly over the board in one turn, almost, and be home free with your pepper before anyone can even touch you. So that gives every player a great variety of options to explore, and that makes this game so much fun. You can go for upgrading your ship, and then trying to get the goods you need in a couple of runs and take bulks of pepper with you. You can either choose to just go for plain speed, get the pepper as fast as possible, be out of there before someone notices you, and then deliver it to the home harbor and get your shares that way. Or you can go pirate style. You can go to the pirate's cove to get the pirate dial and steal resources when a player tries to obtain them. So that means they won't get them, you'll get them for free, and with your own ship you're gonna try and attack other players who are carrying the much beloved pepper, and you can steal that away and then race to the harbor and trade it for contracts yourself. So there are a lot of different strategies you can play with during this game. Another thing I like is the symbols they use. They use very clear and easy symbols which come back on the cards, on your ship, and on the game board, and they are so clear, and the rules are so sleek that it makes play very easy. You explain the game to the new players and you can just start playing. You hardly ever need to pick up the rules during a game to look up, oh, what does this symbol mean again? It's so basic, and that's a great strength. It means you can concentrate fully on playing the game working on your strategy, looking at what the other players do, and act to the changes that happen during the game. And that makes you immerse so much more in this game. So all those mechanics make a great game. It is strategic, it is highly interactive, there is hardly any luck other than some bluff and hoping you read your opponent right and know what kind of cards they have or which moves they're going to make. And the gameplay itself is clear and simple, which makes the immersion even greater. It's on Kickstarter now. I'll place a link down below so you can check out the Kickstarter. It is already funded, so the game will be produced, and if you jump in now you might unlock nice stretch goals, and every Kickstarter backer will get this unique parrot card. So I can really recommend this game. Check it out on Kickstarter, and thank you for watching.
Nox Spellenzolder.